Facebook continues to grapple with the backlash this morning over the political data scandal. CEO Mark Zuckerberg will speak in the next 24 hours about rebuilding trust. In a statement, a Facebook spokesperson said, Mark, Sheryl, and their teams are working around the clock to get all the facts and take the appropriate action. Attorneys general in New York and Massachusetts launched a joint investigation into how a British firm got hold of more than 50 million users' personal information. Senators in both parties want Zuckerberg and other Silicon Valley executives to appear on Capitol Hill. Jessica Lessin is the founder and editor-in-chief of the technology news website The Information. Jessica, good morning.
Good morning.
So, what do you make of Facebook's reaction here? Another thing that the company said was the entire company is outraged we were deceived. Is that genuine outrage, or is it sort of we're shocked there's gambling in Casablanca?
Well, I think, Facebook was surprised by the revelations that Cambridge Analytica still had this data, but that response is clearly insufficient. Users don't want to hear that Facebook was surprised that this data is out there. They want to know what they're doing. And so I think we need to hear from Mark. We need to hear from Sheryl. And I'm sort of wondering why we're waiting.
Yeah, why haven't we heard from them?
Look, it's a very, very complicated issue. And tech people like to think about the technical nuances. But I think I'm sure we will hear something, as you guys said. And this is a big moment. This is a crisis unlike one they've faced.
It is Crisis 101. Do you give them credit for saying, listen, we want to get all the facts before we come out and talk to our people? Do they get credit for that?
You always want the facts before you talk, but there are some things you can say. And I think to have a meeting yesterday where you're not present and, you stick your lawyer in front of your employees.
Crisis meeting.
It seems odd to me, so.
But there's a hashtag trending that says delete Facebook. What do you think they need to do to win back the confidence of users that may be a little doubtful right now?
They need to prove that they've really plugged a lot of the leakiness of this data. And this is a brave new challenge facing the internet. They're not alone in having to deal with it. But I think until users really believe that they can use Facebook without their data getting in the hands of people who shouldn't have it, they're going to face a lot of pressure from users and from regulators.
And what about advertisers? At what point are they going to start worrying about whether advertisers start pulling back?
So advertisers are concerned. They are concerned about the trust that Facebook, that Google have with their users. Over the last year, we've seen some very prominent ones say that they are pulling back in some ways. So this will make that worse, I think, for Facebook.
The reason users are skeptical is they're not sure that Facebook's heart is in it. And there's a quote from a scientist who worked with Cambridge Analytica who said, using users' data for profit is their business model, meaning Facebook. Vice President of Facebook wrote, this is the opposite of our business model. So which is it?
Somewhere in the middle. I mean, I think at a high level, the business model is absolutely around, using users' data to sell advertising. This incident was a case of abuse. It was a case of where a third party told Facebook it had deleted the data and it hadn't. But that's still Facebook's problem. And so that's what they need to solve.
We've been teasing all morning that you said we've reached a tipping point in terms of what we can expect in privacy.
I believe that's true. I think that, the internet and these services are using data in such aggressive ways that we have to be really careful as consumers. And I think we'll see from this, and what I mean by the tipping point is I think things will change. And what I think is going to happen is tech companies are going to close themselves off a bit. I think there are still ways that third-party apps and advertisers are using Facebook. I don't think all of that will go away, but what Facebook is probably churning away on now is closing some of those loopholes because they just have to.
Well, all eyes and ears will be on Mark Zuckerberg and what he has to say today. Thank you so much, Jessica. We appreciate it.
Thank you.